I get it when you're about to spend a few $100s on a compressed air dryer. The last thing you want is to end up with a unit that either underperforms or forces you into a bunch of extra accessories you never asked for. You've probably already read a few spec sheets, maybe watched a couple of unboxing videos, and you're still left wondering if this particular model will actually fit into the workflow you have in your shop or plant. The big question is, will the Ingersoll Rand 50 CFM non-cycling refrigerated dryer give you reliable moisture control without turning your budget into a black hole? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of environment where a dryer like this makes sense. If you run a small to medium fabrication shop, a paint booth, or a pneumatic tool line where you need dry air 24/7, the moisture level in your compressed air can be the difference between a perfect weld and a porosity-filled joint, or between a flawless paint finish and a bubbling mess. The Ingersoll Rand DA85 INA 100 is built to pull 50 CFM, which translates to enough capacity for most three-phase compressors up to roughly 15 horsepower. That means you can hook it directly downstream of the compressor, and you'll have a steady stream of air that stays below the dew point even during the hottest parts of the day. What sets this dryer apart from a lot of the plug-and-play units on the market is its non-cycling design. Instead of turning the refrigeration cycle on and off based on moisture detection, it runs continuously at a lower duty cycle. The practical upshot is twofold. First, you get a very consistent outlet dew point because the system never has the lag time associated with cycling. Second, the continuous operation keeps the refrigerant and the heat exchange surfaces at a stable temperature, which translates into less wear on the compressor side of the unit. In real-world terms, you won't notice the occasional spike in moisture when you first turn the dryer on after a break. It's just dry air, day in, day out. Now, who should actually consider buying this dryer? If you already have a compressor that consistently delivers at least 50 CFM and you need a dew point of around 2F or lower for your process, this unit is a solid match. It's also a good fit for anyone who values energy efficiency and sustainability. Ingersoll Rand has emphasized that the dryer meets strict energy use guidelines, and because it runs non-cycling, the compressor isn't forced to work harder to compensate for moisture spikes. For a plant that already monitors its energy consumption closely, the dryer's efficiency can shave a few % off the overall electricity bill, which adds up over time. On the flip side, if your operation runs only intermittently, say a hobbyist workshop that fires up the compressor for a couple of hours on weekends, you might be paying for a feature you don't need. The non-cycling design means the dryer draws power continuously, even when you're not using any air. In that scenario, a smaller, cycling dryer that only turns on when moisture is detected could be more cost-effective. Also, if you have a low CFM compressor, anything under 30 CFM, you'll quickly find the dryer throttling your output, and you won't achieve the advertised dew point because the airflow simply isn't there to carry the cold away. Let's dig a little deeper into the practical strengths. The first thing I noticed when reviewing the installation manual is how straightforward the hookup is. The dryer comes with standard NPT connections on both the inlet and outlet, so you can bolt it onto your existing piping with a few wrenches and some Teflon tape. The unit also includes a pressure switch that can be wired into your compressor's control circuit, allowing you to shut down the dryer automatically if the pressure drops below a safe threshold. That's a safety feature you'll appreciate if you ever run the compressor down to a stop for maintenance. The dryer won't keep running and overheat. Another tangible benefit is the built-in condensate drain. The dryer's condensate tank is sized to hold enough water for several hours of continuous operation, and the drain valve can be set to auto-drain once a day. In a busy shop, you won't have to remember to manually empty a small pan every few minutes. The design also complies with relevant safety standards, which means the internal electrical components are protected against the typical voltage fluctuations you see in an industrial environment. When it comes to weaknesses, the primary one is the initial cost. Ingersoll Rand is a premium brand, and the DA85 INA 100 reflects that. If you're comparing price per CFM, there are cheaper options that promise similar airflow, but they often sacrifice the reliability of the refrigeration system or the quality of the internal controls. Another point to consider is the physical size. This dryer is a full-size unit that needs a dedicated space, roughly the size of a small filing cabinet, and it requires proper ventilation. If you have a cramped workshop, you'll need to allocate a corner or a shelf that can